Welcome, friends. I'd like to show you how to make these fun Santa Claus ornaments. Today I'm using napkins. These napkins are cocktail size, so they're about 5 inches. I'm also using this template that I got at the Dollar Tree. They're balloon templates. They come in sizes 2 to 10 inches. You can find these over in the party section. You can see that I can center these images and come up with some really cute 4-inch ornaments. I'm using 4-inch disc ornaments. You could use the ball ornaments too. And you can use clear, plastic, or glass DIYs. With these napkins, I want to pull off the backing. This one, it's already been pulled off, and you can see how transparent it is. If you look at the description below, you'll find where we buy our napkins. This is a 3-ply napkin, so there's 3 layers. You want to pull the 2 white sheets of the napkin off, because it can cause your image to wrinkle when we apply it to plastic. Now that I have these ready to go, I'm going to set them off to the side and we'll go on to the plastic. You can use transparency plastic that you use in a printer, basically any kind of plastic. Using a silver permanent marker, I'll take my 4-inch template and I will trace 2 circles on here, leaving a little room at the top for the neck of the ornament so I can navigate it inside the ornament. Now that they're drawn, I will cut them out. Next, I'll lay out my napkin. I'll place the template on top of it and I'll go with about right here. And we'll make sure it's cut off on at least 2 different sides here. I have a thin brush. I'm just going to dip it in water and I'm going around the edge to wet it down. This is so simple and easy to do. Just want to wet down the very edge. When I pick this up, I can place my hand over the image and go around and start to tear out the image. Now I could cut it, so you have a choice. Here's the image, and then we'll go on to the other Santa, and I'll do the same. My ornament transparencies are clear. I'm going to use the gloss Mod Podge on top of it. I could use satin or matte too. So I want to make sure I get even coat and cover the whole thing. Make sure there's no open spaces. I could use a sponge brush or a larger brush too. And I'll do the same with the other. They're still wet. In order to add the image, I'll be using the wet reverse napkin technique, which involves using the half back of a quart-size bag. You can use a gallon-size bag too. To apply this, I'm going to reverse this and turn it upside down since it's going on the front. I'm just taking water to lightly spray it so it's completely wet. And the reason why I want to spray it is because the napkin does stretch out quite a bit and it can wrinkle. If I spread it out, it will go on more smoothly, even if we are applying it to a flat surface. Then I'll bring this ornament over here. Turn this upside down and I can see where the top is and how I want to place it. And that looks good right there. I'll just keep this on and smooth it out. I might have to be extra careful getting this down here. This does work. I just had to get the side a little bit. And I'm going to be careful pulling this up. And there's the first image. And we'll set that off to the side and let it dry. And then I'll do the next one. So I'm going to turn it upside down. Just lightly water it. Smooth it out. Now turn it upside down again. And we'll match it up with the top. Smooth it out with the plastic on it. And then ever so slightly, I'll start over here, this edge. And it'd be a good idea to start at edge where there's less going on. And here's my image. Once the Mod Podge has dried, I'm taking a sponge brush and I'm adding another coat of gloss Mod Podge to the top, being very careful. The napkin is fragile. This way it will make the napkin more transparent and sturdy when I add them to the ornaments. Now you can see that these napkins have a really nice coating on the front. And I'm going to turn them over and sponge on some white paint with a round sponge brush. I'm using white chalk paint. I'll dab some of this on the plastic, not the napkin itself, but on the backside plastic over where most of the details are. leaving some spaces in between, and I'm not doing the background so I can warm it up with another material later on. Now I'll let them dry. Before placing these inside the ornaments, I want to cut them down just a little bit more so that they fit easily inside the ornament, since the glass has the thickness and I want the plastic to fit easily inside the ornaments. Now I'll roll my images up, place them inside ornaments, flatten them out with the end of a paintbrush or a wooden skewer, and I'll stuff some golden metallic tool behind the images to keep them from moving. Option 1, the easiest ornament, is to fill it up with more tulle, put the cap on, and you're done. Option 2 is to use gold leaf to create a frame and cover the back of the ornament so it looks more finished. On this ornament, I decided to fill it more with the gold tulle, and then I'll just place the red on the back. While I am using red gold leaf, I'll show this process with gold leaf because it's a more thorough process. I'm using this gold leaf that I've cut into strips, so I keep it inside the paper like this and cut strips to make a border. And I'll use this to cover up the side, and if I can keep it on here, that's easier. And I'll just start up at the top and go around and smooth it on. Even though you can see a space between the image and the gold leaf, you can go right up against the image to create a border. The great thing about gold leaf is it sticks by itself without any glue. I just have to add a sealer to keep it on at the end. And I'll keep going all the way around. So you can kind of stop this at any stage once the image is added to the inside. On my other ornament, I made sure to finish the border all the way around before going on to the back side. Then I'll fill in the backing. It helps to keep the paper on the back when adding it. And I can burnish it with my thumbs and my fingers. It helps to do this where there's no wind blowing. This will blow around and be very difficult to work with. And I'll just keep filling this in. And smooth it out with my thumbs and fingers. And isn't that cute, just like it is? As an afterthought, I covered the same ornament with red foil. I only needed to cover it with red foil in the first place. On both ornaments, I'm using Deco Art Dura Clear Matte Varnish. I could use satin or clear too. I want to coat the whole back so that the foil does not come off. Now you can use Mod Podge as a sealer. However, I find Duraclear to be a more strong and scratch resistant finish. Once the sealer is applied, option 2 is finish. Option 3 provides a more decorative look. For the third option, I want to make Santa's belt buckle on the back of the ornament and frame the picture with Santa's white fur. The belt buckle is a fondant mold used for crafts and making cakes. I use creative paper clay. Daas clay will work too. Prior to adding the clay to the mold, I want to coat it with a little bit of oil, such as vegetable oil or olive oil. I'm using olive oil. I'm coating the top belt buckle and the bottom strap. Not only will this help release the clay, it will help keep the details as well. When opening and using the clay, I want to keep the rest of it moist because it will dry out. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this. I want to mold up my hands, warm it up a little bit, knead it, going back and forth like this. And then we'll take a little bit of this and start to press it down into the mold. I like to use the back of my finger to smooth it out. This is what we call making a flexible embellishment using clay, and we'll keep it wet because this will dry rock hard. And I'll place them down here. Sliding around in here since there's no side. I like to get a nice smooth backing. Part of this will work just fine. Okay, and then we'll flip it upside down and take it out. And I'll bring my ornament back over. The back of the ornament has been varnished before I add the clay embellishment. Now I will assemble the belt together. We'll cut it about right here. With the Mod Podge, I'm going to use quite a bit of it and add it onto the back. I like it off to the side there a little bit. That's cute. I'll let that dry for a few minutes and then I'll be back to paint it. It's 5 minutes later. Now I'll paint the belt with gold and black acrylic paints. Then, once the paint dries, I will add another coat of varnish before going on to the last step. I used a little Mod Podge and added it onto the ornament cap. I threaded a pipe cleaner through it so that way I can hang it up after I finish the last step. For the last step, we're going to use this Glitter Snow by Eileen's, who makes the tacky glue. To add this, I'm using a palette knife, and I'm just going to use this little edge right here. And we'll make it look like Santa's white fur on a suit. And I'll keep going around and working with this. I'll use the knife to spackle it on, and then use my finger to kind of soften it. The thickness of this Eileen's Glitter Snow is similar to a thick icing or the marshmallow that you can buy in a jar without the stickiness. Well, this isn't shown, and I did this near the end. I used my finger to grab a hold of the snow and to wipe around the sides. I had much more control that way, and it was more fun. It's like icing gingerbread houses. We hope you enjoyed this ornament tutorial and hope you'll join us for more videos like this in the future. We plan to make these throughout the year. Warm wishes, my dear friends, and happy holidays.